that open. I will.
I think the biggest thing in that is you can't be afraid to ask. Like
No.
so many people are scared to ask because of a profile on Instagram, But yeah, you start talking to these people, and you may message 20 of them and maybe get one back,
That's what. Yep.
But sometimes that one back is
Changed life.
yeah.
Where I had a door open for me with the Terror Crew Hell Track event, the first one. Blake called me on a Friday. So I work for the government. I handle logistics for the Western region. I just don't do barbecue 100%. And so Blake had called me right before lunch, and I'll never forget this. Got out of my truck, said Blake Wilkie Shreddy, and I said, "Oh goodness!" All right, called. Hey, what's up, Blake? This is Fern. He's like, "I need to answer in 2 minutes. We have a big event. The caterer was double booked. I think it was like Dang Brothers or something. They're double booked. Can you cook for 100 people?"
Welcome back to the Industry Podcast. My name is Doug. We have a guest on the show today that has made quite the name for himself in the off-road industry and multiple other things in life. Ferns BBQ.
Yeah, thank you. Fern's short for Fernando, and I got into barbecue about 15 years ago. I had boats, and people needed to eat, so I started cooking hamburgers.
People gather around barbecues too.
They do
Quickly.
It's, my mentors. Remember, when all these shows came out, like Pitmaster, like those guys were the guys I looked up to, and I got to meet them, and they've taken me under their wing and taught me about the longevity and the art of barbecue. It's not one of the best things that Big Mo Cason taught me. Don't cook in a bad mood, and I keep that true to all the stuff. Is I don't want people. They eat my food, but they consume my energy. So I try to be in a positive mood. Prime example, LS Fest. I almost had a heat stroke in the TT, and
I heard
locked
about
up.
that, yeah.
And I still had a responsibility to cook for my team. Eisenhower's, Gobble Kings, all the guys, and it was a rough one. But I ended up cooking a 9-course meal. We were a little bit late, but everybody understood, and I'm now cooking for a lot of
9-course meal. What are we cooking for 9 courses?
Oh goodness! We did agave glazed cherry meatballs. We did a new dish that I rolled out, which is peppers. You char them. You can do it with a torch or do it over flame. And then I look for a lot of flavor profiles, sweet, heat, and smoke. So what I do is I do charred it, so you have that char taste as well. And right where they're about to burst, you char it, and then they pop. So all of the juices inside start mixing with it. And then do another agave glaze and light lemon, and then some cherry. So you have a huge flavor profile. And
All right, but before you get too far into your barbecue, did you used to cook before, like not barbecuing, but just like
no,
fine dining?
when my growing up at a very young age, I was a middle stepchild, and my father had to work far to take care of our family. The gold mines up in Searchlight, and I was play sports and go home and cook. So my stepmother taught me a lot on how to survive on myself, and I started doing that and started growing on how to cook. And one thing I learned is being a transplant from Pearl Valley to San Diego. I went to a birthday party. I didn't know anybody there, and so somebody said, "Hey, can somebody help cook this?" I was like, "Well, I don't know anybody. I'm just gonna man the grill and act like I know what I'm doing." And then everybody loves the barbecue guy or loves to cook, so I started doing that, and then it just grew. And I built a solar-powered barbecue trailer, falling into this, and I believe in with success, there's tremendous amount of failure behind that helps you grow. I got last place at my first barbecue competition. Remember the ribs that I turned in? You're supposed to cut them. Turned them a whole rack of ribs. Turned them chicken. Didn't know what I was doing. I got last place.
I mean, I wouldn't know that either. Yeah.
I won't ever forget that because it's my first barbecue competition, and I got last place, but I won an award. It was the best tailgate team in San Diego. With this, my background in low voltage, with driving boats in the military for the SEAL teams, I built a solar-powered barbecue trailer with DirecTV, and a little Harbor Freight 4x8 trailer. I didn't know how to weld, so I bolted everything in. And during that time,
Like the little $200-300 trailer?
Yep. I
built
bought
yourself?
it on Craigslist, and I just started designing and working with Traeger grill on there, and I put a little sink so you can wash hands, to, stay and within a health department code. And I was like, well, I could do this, I could do that. And it grew and grew and grew. And I put actuators on there and lifted it up so solar panels up, and I had my DirecTV satellite dish up there. And lo and behold, I didn't know where I would be at that mark in my life, but where I'm at now, it's amazing. And I've actually passed that trailer down to somebody that I needed a barbecue. And so I was like, you know what? I built this. Here, you're more than welcome to try it. My blood, sweat, and tears are literally in that.
It's crazy to think about, like, all these other guys in the off-road industry. I'm sure you're involved with other industries, right?
Yes.
But for the off-road side, like, I think the public eye would be like, oh, in order to make my way into the industry, I'd have to be in a truck, or like it's crazy to see somebody do this with a barbecue.
It's weird. So I believe we are all in charge of our own fate and our own river. We'll go in more depth about my life, but I did 3 tours in Iraq from 99 to 05. I got shipped out to the Persian Gulf 3 days after September 11th, and met amazing people all around the world, and being able to see the world at a very young age. I'm 42 right now, and feel like I'm in my second stride. But I put myself in situations, and I believe you're given a fork as well. You take the left or the right, and I've been blessed that the people that I've chosen my path with, my circle, my mentors, have always looked out for me. And there are people that, when I first got in this industry, that pulled me aside and said, there are people that are gonna think that you're doing drugs, you're selling drugs, or that you're only here for money or clout. And the thing is that money comes and goes. The memories last forever. The brotherhood, the person we were talking earlier about stuff that we missed to fill our gap. I missed the brotherhood of the person that when we were, we'd have an evolution in the military, and the first conversation we'd have, what are we going to eat when we get back home, or what's your favorite meal, to keep on going, or the Dear John letters we'd get before email was big. And so I see that in my team when I'm in the car with Blake or with Kevin, or I'm spotting for Kevin, I'll get the chills, and I'll tell them, I'm proud of you. I'll text my team, I'm proud of you. I'm a very emotional person as well, because I just love it. When I'll just tell them that, hey, you know what, look what you guys get to do, look what we get to do, look what you built, and step back, because all of this can go in one day. We can get in a bad accident and can be gone, or not wake up the next day. But to me, to be in this market and be in multiple markets, I just reached out to Blake 3 years ago on Instagram. I was, my inner group knows I don't like the desert, I don't like the dust. And so
You don't? You're always out there.
I know. Being from El Centro, I dust and everything, but it gets all in my trailer, rocks, everything. And so
It's a mess.
It is
Yeah.
bad. I met Blake out there, and I said, hey, you got big numbers. And how I started cooking for celebrities was I just reached out to them on social media. Mike Tyson, William Shatner, Slightly Stupid, Wee Man. And now that, I reached out to them and said, hey, I'd like to cook for you. Let's set something up. It's just for free, just trying to get my name out. And they gave me a shot and a chance, and loved my food. Some of them still use me, and some of them, they're so busy. And I cooked for Blake, and Blake was like, man, this is amazing food. Gave it to the whole team, and there are doors that open. I will.
I think the biggest thing in that is you can't be afraid to ask. Like,
No.
so many people are scared to ask because of a profile on Instagram, but yeah, you start talking to these people, and you may message 20 of them and maybe get one back.
That's right, yeah.
But sometimes that one back is
Changed life.
Yeah.
Where I had a door open for me with the Terror Crew Hell Track event, the first one. Blake called me on a Friday. So I work for the government. I handle logistics for the Western region. I just don't do barbecue 100%. And so Blake had called me right before lunch, and I'll never forget this. Got out of my truck, said, Blake Wilkie Shreddy. And I said, oh, goodness. All right, called. Hey, what's up, Blake? It's Fern. He's like, I need to answer in 2 minutes. We have a big event. The caterer was double booked. I think it was like Dang Brothers or something. They're double booked. Can you cook for 100 people? I was like, sure, when? Saturday. And I was like, okay, where's this at? I think it's Palmdale. So
Sounds like Blake's schedule, though. It's always like...
Yeah. So I was like, okay, give me 5 minutes. So I went in, gathered everything, Googled it, how far it is, designed a quick menu, told my boss I was taking Saturday off. I didn't know how I was going to do it logistically because at the time I had a toy hauler, I had to take my big smoker, and I only had one vehicle. So I had to drive to Menifee, switched out my truck with the smoker, get a diesel to tow my my toy hauler up the grade. I made it there with 1 minute to spare before they locked the gates out. And when I told Blake, don't worry, I'll take care of it. And when I tell somebody, anybody, I will be there, that's my word. How I was brought up by my grandfather was like, John Wayne, hey, if you give a man your word, that's all we have. So I took it. I took the gig. I did it, and sent Blake with a whole bunch of food back because he was racing at Glen Helen. And met the Eisenhowers. Remember, we took a prom photo with the truck, and met all kinds of people there, and fed everybody. And that's when I was introduced to everybody into the off-road scene. I made my pretty much competition-style ribs. We fed like 200-300 people, and then Blake had said, "Hey, you stepped up. We're trying to get you some more gigs," and then started cooking more. And then he said, "Hey, we want to do some stuff at the shop," and then I cooked for Method Race Wheels. And at the time, I said, "Well, can we do a pig? And I want to do your logo, the Shreddy logo on the pig, and then do the Method logo on there." And got to meet Twitch, and was gonna set something up to cook for him. Met a lot of people at the Method event at his house. And before I do I feed everybody, I'd say, "Hey, thank you guys for coming by." Just spiel as a thank you. Then Blake and I, the group, started getting a lot closer. And while cooking the pig, I was talking to the owner of Method. I said, "Hey, my buddy helped start your business. I grew up with them in Imperial Valley." He's like, "Well, what's his name?" I was like, "Joey Delaney." He's like, "How do you know Joey Delaney?" And I was like, "Well, through my brother. I mean, I've known him for 20, 30 years. He's like, "That's my cousin." I was like, "Whoa, small world." And that's when I started learning how small this industry is. And I said, "I'm never asking for anything for free. I believe I should be able to pay for it." And so I said, "I could tell you anything about barbecue, but I don't know much about wheels and tires. My smoker is on like small donuts. That's what it came with." And so this smoker is the biggest Traeger they make. It's made to run restaurants. So I said, "Is there anything that we could do to make this safer? Because I tow everywhere." And he was like, "Drop it off at Joey's. We'll take care of it." So they threw Methods on there, gave me 3 wheels, tires, the whole nine. I mean, it's leaf springs, everything. And they didn't want anything back. They just they knew it was going to go to a good spot and useful. So I've been extremely, extremely grateful for the people that I've surrounded myself around with. And there is a lot of hangarounds. There is a lot of people that do take advantage of the food there. And it's this industry will definitely callous you. But at the same time, I feel bad for people that don't eat, because I've been there growing up where I didn't get to eat a dinner, or I didn't have enough money to eat a meal, and seeing families that were above middle class be able to eat a solid meal or a steak. And for me, I don't want anybody to go to bed without a full stomach. Fortunately, I've dumped thousands and thousands of dollars. I mean, I've dipped in my 401k to get this going, and I took a bet and an investment on myself to make this grow. Where my beef jerky line, people want to collaborate and do stuff with me, and it's like I never thought I would be here.
Is that a newer thing you're doing?
Yeah,
The jerky in general.
It is. I told Blake.
It's amazing, by the way.
Thank you, thank
Yeah.
you. I told Blake a year ago. I said, "Hey, I want to do jerky." He's like, "All right, well, we'll see, we'll see." I said, "I want to do jerky." He's like, "Okay, okay." Then we were at a pro line event, and he goes in my trailer. He's like, "I want to talk to you. Let's go." And so we're in the bedroom, and I said, "What's up, man?" He's like, "This is one thing that he's been in this industry his whole life." He's like, "What separates people is their word. When they say they're gonna do something." And so I was like, "All right, what do you mean?" He's like, "You say you're gonna make jerky, and you freaking made jerky." I was like, "I mean, I've always made it with barbecue. We just dry it out. It's just now on a massive level." He's like, "This is why you're a part of the team." And so what segue to the next thing is that my background is a lot of sports. And so what I've learned about people that are in a specialty of like motorsports, or I first saw this with Wee Man. Wee Man hates sports. So him and I were talking. I was like, "I love skateboarding. I love skateboarding." And I was like, I see that." He's like, "What, do you go to any sports?" He's like, "No, I don't watch any sports." I was like, "Wow." And so being in the off-road industry, a lot of people don't watch sports because they're out in the desert. And where me, I grew up playing and watching it. So I try to bring this team like circle with my guys. We all win as a team. We eat as a team. We eat as family. Nobody, the women eat usually first. Try to have manners, but I try to tell everybody, hey, we all eat together. And so working with the Eisenhowers now, they're a very tight family as well, and I'm able to see the different aspects. Now, segue into my first market of racing is Top Fuel drag racing. My buddy, who was John Force's one of the guy who works on his engine, actually served in the Navy with, and him and I, he was in radar and I was on a lookout, and we crossed paths again, and I actually sponsored their race team. After he left John Force, he sponsored a race team, a full like hospitality, the whole nine. I've never been to a drag racing, barely knew anything about NHRA. At the time, I loved NASCAR, still do. I have a piece of the Monte Carlo.
She's a huge NASCAR fan.
So I have a piece of the Monte Carlo that Senior died in. It's before they started wrapping. It's got the primer and everything. Got rubber from Junior and Senior. Gordon, who else? Johnson. Yeah.
Who's the tire you have?
Gordon.
She's a Jeff Gordon tire.
I love V8 power, and so my goal was always to cook for anybody in NASCAR. And so I started working myself up with Monster, and then I got mixed up with NHRA. You don't ever say NASCAR with NHRA or vice versa, because they only turn one way. Where, NHRA Top Fuel, you're going 300 plus miles an hour. So they baptized me by nitrous, and not, but like we're using top fuel.
What baptized you by now?
So not it's about how you
What does
say
that
it.
mean?
So you're on the line. It's actual earthquake. This is 11,000 horsepower. So it's nitromethane. So you have to actually register with the Homeland Security, because I believe it was Oklahoma City bomber used this type of fuel for the bomb. And so I didn't know about this until I started learning more about what they use. So they use 15 gallons within 3 seconds, and we break down the engine within 30 minutes, fired up within 45. Every run. And so how they baptized me was, you're in between both cars. It's say 4 or 5 feet, and when they light, then they go. It's an earthquake. So they've trained me to take a white stance and tighten your core and be ready. So the symbology, when people are watching drag races, especially on the Top Fuel side and on the funny car, is the whole team stands on line right behind the car. And what I love about it is that we pretty much build all this by hand. So there's there's schematics, there's specs, but if it goes, it goes. So if something happens to our driver and it blows up, we go with our driver. And our lives are right there. And you sign the waivers and everything. So I fell in love with that part because of the whole type racing, because it's family. A lot of these are family teams and big word team. And so when I first got in and they asked me to join, I started crying. I was like, can't believe I'm part of a professional race team like this. And just food got me into it, where I could do this, I could do that, I could do this, I could do it. I wanted to be everything. So then our crew chief, Bill, on the next race, we're racing in Vegas, he said, Fern, God bless your heart. We need new blood like you. And I was throwing away the trash, I was giving people rags. There was no job too low that I was going to do to help the team out, because I believe you got to start from the bottom and work yourself up. I said, I don't know about engines, but I'll do whatever you need me to do. If I can't cook, here's some extra hands. So they said, now you just do one job. That's it. Everybody has one job. You take care of this tire. This tire is your tire. Nobody touches your tire. This tire is yours. So I was like, okay, stand guard. Whatever you do for me, boss. So then we did a burnout. We did anything. I'm the guy that cleans the tire. So, and then we tapped the wing after that, and then we give dabs to my buddy and I that I served in the military with. We're both tire guys. And then they were teaching me how to work on the engine and on the valves and look at the jets. And we, as a whole team, we ran the fastest we ever ran, which is 323 miles an hour. And that's the fastest team has ever ran. I think we beat Brittany Force in Pomona. And I collected all of the spark plugs. And being with the team, I'm in charge of hospitality, race day media, social media. And so what I try to do is give back to the next generation, the kids and people that you can see that are big in the crowd. They love this stuff. I bring them in closer to the pit. And then I made sure that the grandmother who started with her husband on Bill Racing, I gave it to our team owners, who are our cousins. And I said, this is for your grandmother. Make sure she gets it. And then they didn't even think about that. And so they try to bring this family, this team mentality to it. And then bringing this into the race team I'm with now with Wilkie Works, and seeing the total dynamics of how people view us and how people think that everything's given. The amazing guy that Blake has a crazy motor. That guy wakes up at 7:05. He's in the shop, and he's going until at night. He won't eat. And so what I do is, I don't know how to work on cars. I don't know how to weld. I can learn, but it takes away from what they have to do. So the next best thing I could do is feed my guys, feed my team. If I break something, like my barbecues, they'll go and bend it, and I'll feed them with jerkies. The jerkies they love because it's quick protein. So I've learned a lot from that, and then I learned how to drive on the simulator, and then learning what I don't like and like about trucks. I don't like roller coasters. I dislike roller coasters bad. And Noah the Explorer gave me my first taste of being in the air. And I said, hey, it's my first time jumping. Don't ever tell anybody.
You jumped with him?
Yes.
Nice.
And he uses all his travel. He's crazy, but
yeah, I love that guy.
He's
amazing.
Ground roots,
Yeah.
and I'll text him every once in a while. Hey man, I'm proud of you. He's lost a lot of weight. He's cleaned up.
He's all skinny now.
Yeah, I was like, man, hopefully I can get like that.
He did it quick too.
Yeah, I just changed my diet. I just changed my routine, and so definitely we could see the good, bad, and ugly in anything, but I've met a lot of amazing people that I can call and say, hey man, I need help. Okay, from what do you need? And so I don't want to be just known as the food guy. When they see Ferns there, people don't bring food. And sometimes I've went somewhere and I told Kevin, only bring microwavable food, just for you and I. I'm not cooking. We're running. We're going to be doing runs. He's like, sure you're not going to cook? I said, Ferns not cooking. We're going to be doing runs. And there were people that didn't bring food. And I felt bad because I didn't have food to feed people, but that's just the programming in me that I have as the nature in the group,
Yeah.
So that's a nutshell about myself.
Dude, this group, this SoCal group of guys, Wilkie, Eisenhower's, like a lot of the Terra guys, probably the raddest group.
Yeah.
I think in the last year and a half,
Everybody's gotten closer.
I think I've made the best memories I've made in my whole life.
I have a trophy case. I have my first check from Shreddy. I have my first dollar that I made at Bournemouth when I failed. A lot of people don't know that I was Blake got me into Bournemouth, and the whole situation, I came out a lot smarter, and that failed because I couldn't give it 100%. I was out racing on Top Fuel when we opened on Halloween at Bournemouth. I'm in Vegas racing, watching my numbers. They didn't match up well. I had to be 10 places at the same time. San Diego, Bournemouth, in my diesel going back and forth. The numbers weren't there, but I tried my hardest to do it, and I couldn't do it. And I think we tried for like a month, and it failed. But I'm kind of glad it failed because I learned that not everything is going to be it's not going to be all nice. It's not. You have to make the best of the situation. Where I went down there and said, "Hey man, I'm sorry, it's not going to work out." And in my mind, when I first started, I painted this amazing thing that I thought it was going to go, and all my training that my mentors would give me for the restaurants, and it just didn't work out. And I came out a stronger person. Where now, I don't do pop-ups anymore. Because I want to enjoy. Don't always want to work. I'm working 72 hours a week with the government, and then going out and racing, going out and cooking, try to live my life. And recently, I had a good friend of mine that didn't wake up 2 weeks ago. Just didn't wake up and left behind a family. And I sat back and I was like, man, what happens if I don't wake up? He had a heart attack in his sleep. And I got asked to do a catering gig. I have a taco line as well, and in June, and the guy had talked to me. He's like, "Hey, it's for a celebration of life." I was like, "Perfect, just treating like a normal client. Whatever you need, let me know. Go to my website, fill it out." And then I was in El Centro eating my favorite Chinese food in my truck by myself.
Talking a lot about food.
Yeah, on Saturday. Getting ready to head back to Sunday. Getting ready to head back to San Diego. This past Sunday, he sends me the flyer. It is the celebration of life for my friend, and I started crying because I was first of all blessed to be a part of that, but secondly is that you just don't know when it's your number.
Yeah,
you don't.
We're all on a clock.
And being in Iraq many times, I've lost friends, and I got out because I lost too many friends for reasons I didn't feel in my heart that were right.
Yeah.
And so I got out and failed. I didn't know how to become a civilian. I went from making really good money to making $10 an hour. The military at that time, they didn't teach me how to handle my funds correctly. And I had to learn. And I hit rock bottom, and I saw who my friends were. And the person I was with for 5-6 years left me, broke my heart, and I didn't know what to do. And I was not in a bad place. I knew at that point I was in a bad spot, but with my military training and mental training, I knew it would be a lot easier getting out. It sucked, but I was able to get out and just talking to people. And I always tell people, hey, if you're in a situation, talk to somebody. Because mental health is huge, and we're going everywhere with this one. But
no, it's good.
Mental health is a really big issue. It's my 80s generation. It's you fall down, get back up, but then there is repercussions. There is stuff that PTSD. My first time at King of the Hammers, I cooked for Nick Nelson Motorsports, and 3 meals a day for 10 days. We did a pig out there. I mean, a whole nine. And barely had any Wi-Fi. We were in the lake bed, and if I hadn't had friends pull me out of the camp, Blake and give me a ride, or they take me rock climbing, I wouldn't know how to handle it mentally. Still have my military training. I went to work after we got back on Sunday. I went to work on Monday, and my shop is in a valley. There was fog. I had PTSD from the fog, thinking it was dust. And so, segue to this year, I told Blake I'm never going out again. and many times to tell everybody. And then we went out again, and had a blast. Didn't really my allergies kill me out there, but it
At
was
Hammers?
yeah,
It's gnarly.
it's bad. I got to see a lot more. I got to run my truck, the suspension, and then we could see into this next to with the shop, seeing my team's eyes light up on limitless what they want to do, and so being with Blake last night, we were helping out a friend's truck breakdown at the side of the road. So hey, I'm getting ready to do this podcast. And I said, they're gonna ask how I got into the industry. I said, all the secret stuff. I know, don't worry, I'm not gonna say. He's like, no, run it, bro. So the Wilkie Works is building a amazing. I don't know how they're gonna do it. It's I mean, what they build in their mind. Kevin puts it on the program, and it's amazing with the bug that they did it. It's gonna be a 4-wheel drive rock climbing bug. It's crazy, just to see the concept and they build it.
Right.
And they want me to be along with this, like, hey, you're with us. Put your stickers in the car, and I was like, I don't want to. Okay, but that's amazing. Thank you. And then the segue into the next one where I already finished the Mint 400, the last 40 miles of Blake, and I did ask him if we're gonna jump because
That's the first time you
first time ever
got to be in a race, or
Yep, in a race other than the simulator, and I co-piloted it, and it was an amazing experience because I'm able to be in the car that I see my team in, see my drivers in, and they had many hours on it before I got into that race with them, but got to get a first-hand view of what they do, and it's all business. It is and they are in their zone. It is all business. Call out, soft left, tight right. Call them out, and then what Blake wants distances and how they race. I've been with them and their multiple different race trucks that they have, but that 11 bug is. I was sore the next day. I was
yeah,
sore.
imagine.
I asked, like, can you jump this? He's like, we're jumping it. So all right, and it feels like when we jump on the TT, Megalodon, Kevin's trucks, even Paul American Sender's truck, it feels like you're in the air forever. And my first time to Glamis with Blake, I was cooking for everybody, and he said, stop cooking, I'm taking you to Megalodon. And I was like, all right, where are we going? He's like, we're going to the hill. Again, I don't know much about Glamis because it's kind of like locals in San Diego. We don't go to Old Town because that's where the tourists go.
Yeah.
Locals in Perro Valley don't go to Glamis because that's where all the outsiders go. We go to Superstition. So jumped the hill with Blake, and I remember there was a medevac helicopter landing. He's like, hold on, and learning how the rear engine, the weight distribution, how he lifts it, and knowing the power of that, it's scary. It is scary the way that people look at the car, and when you jump it and you're going, I mean, you pray that the brakes work, but the next
that is the first vehicle to scare me while I was filming.
It's
at Off-Road Expo last year.
Yeah.
Like I filmed a lot in moto.
Yeah.
That's how I got started. But you're right next to bikes all the time. They're hitting corners and you're inches away from them. But I'm used to it, and you know what they're gonna do, so you get used to it. And so we were filming at the demo at the expo, and he came pinned straight at me. I was right behind the K rail. I'm like holding my camera, hands were shaking. And he flipped it real quick, like did a 180, and just pinned it. He was sitting there burning tire, but just the amount of control that he has of the vehicles.
It's insane. When we run the simulator, after the work is done, we'll go on the simulator for a couple hours. I'll sit there and watch them, and then I'll see how Kevin goes in his ear and see how their chemistry they have. And I told Blake that I want to start racing. And then, they all laughed like, "For you to race?" And the thing is, like, I mean, why not? You're only here once,
Yeah.
why not? I mean, I'm not going to race TTs. That's pretty insane. But I have to start somewhere. And if it's not my trophy truck,
Don't say
Super
never.
Duty,
Who knows?
no.
Maybe in 5 years you'll be in a TT.
Yeah, it's scary to see where sometimes when I'm driving, I love driving, I'll ask myself, man, where were you 5 years? And then where are you going to be at 5 years?
Yeah.
And then to see how people have grown and how people grow in different various markets. I always thought I was going to open a little pop-up or just doing barbecue at the side, where barbecue, people ask me, hey, I do a lot of catering. Catering is my bread and butter with the barbecue. And then I sponsor a lot of the teams with the barbecue, with the food, and then design my my meals around the athletes. So prime example, at LS Fest, it was extremely hot. So at breakfast, I did a light breakfast, did yogurt, we did granola, bananas, a lot of potassium, and a lot of waters. For I consider these drivers athletes, and so I fed Parsons, Eisenhower's, Kevin and I, some of the Gravel Kings, and they were make sure that they were fueled properly, and granola bars, trail mix, high protein, not heavy, because if at any point they will have heat stroke, they will throw all that up. So you need to have them light, and I'm the one who ended up almost having a heat stroke. So then we have a huge dinner, and what I love about my craft is I started out just cooking the four major proteins. It is beef, pork, and chicken. The four meats out of those three groups. And so I've had to learn how to cook for vegetarians. I do a lot of jackfruit tacos. Jackfruit is like a tofu for barbecue, but I've wanted to go to culinary school and sharpen my skills, but with COVID, one of the schools closed down in San Diego.
Culinary school.
Yeah, and
I did fine dining cooking for a year. I really wanted to get into it until I did it for a living at a restaurant.
it's hard.
It changed. Like, I still love cooking, but not at that level.
There's a show that came out, I think on Hulu. It was about is it The Beaver? I don't know if it's, but it's about a chef who was a Michelin star chef, and he takes over his uncle's like sub shop, and it's called The Bear. And that is, I would say, 99.9% true of a kitchen. There's nothing but yelling. Yes, chef, no chef. And so
It's intense.
It's very during the rush it is intense. And I've lived through those, and trying to consistency is everything. And I've it sucks, but I won't ever allow myself to be called a master, pit master, or a chef, because I feel like I have to earn those, and I will always be a student to my craft. This coming June 24th, I'll be cooking for maybe 1,500 or 2,000 people for the Clean Desert, and we're having trucks out there, the whole nine. All of the teams I'm affiliated with, Eisenhower's my top fuel. What else? Blake, they're all taking their trucks out there. I want to promote East County, San Diego's new talent. 'Cause a lot of talent's left. It's expensive to live in California, but I want to show them, hey, what our community has. And segue to this, I'm very, very big on giving to my community. I do a lot of stuff with El Cajon Hobbies. You had Harry on your podcast. So I do a lot of stuff with his shop, and I have a small program that if kids have good grades, bring in your report card. I'll buy you a little RC car. If you have good grades and you're doing something good with your life.
What's the age requirement for that?
There is no age requirement. There isn't. We're not getting.
My grades have been pretty good lately.
Yeah. But sometimes they'll come in and I mean, so, I do good chores. Like, hey, good grades. Because that's really big on me. And then I used to hold a barbecue competition called Mano a Mano, and it's one-person team, and you can't use any electronic devices. And our sponsor was held at Anheuser-Busch distribution facility in Pro Valley. and it was benefit Autism Speaks Foundation. That I still donate to that foundation, but with the whole pandemic, it shut everything down. This year, hopefully, we'll be able to move it to San Diego, better weather, better, and it's a lot less red tape I have to do up here in San Diego than in Imperial Valley. But I'm really, really big on giving back to the community, and the one thing that's my mentors have taught me is that when you're at a certain age and you're able to give back to your community, do it. And so, helping out with any high schools that some of the kids might not have proper funding for cleats or whatnot, I'll go and help them raise money, or I'll donate, I'll sponsor a kid. With that big S word, people have reached out to me for sponsorships, and there's only so much that I can give.
Yeah.
I'm not this big company, but there is. I sponsor a Supercross guy, David Pulley. He is a privateer, amazing numbers, and just go hustler just kills it. Local boy.
I've filmed with him a lot.
Yeah, he's an amazing guy. I met him at everything's Terror Crew. We met everything at Terror. I met them at the Heat Wave movie premiere. I think it was a year and a half ago with Eisenhower's, and cooking with them, and doing a lot of team building with them, and it was amazing. He was just telling me about it. I said, I'll buy your fuel for your season. And so we talked, and so there was a guy that I met at Harry's shop who he's a little kid, I'd say like 9, 10, or 12, somewhere around there, and he wants to become motocross, and he races. I think he's got like a 125. So I contacted David. I said, hey Dave, can you just mentor this kid if he has any questions about bikes? I don't know about bikes, but I can help people.
Yeah.
Close that gap. And so they talk all the time now, and I was like, hey, that's my friend. But yeah, and he actually, the kid made me a little rock climber, and I take that whenever we're in the hauler and race that. So I've surrounded myself around a lot of different markets, a lot of amazing people.
Yeah, and it seems like you can start using these connections and networks to help people out. And
Definitely. It's what you know, but it's who you know as well. And I mean, possibly in any industry, what helps and neutralize everything is feeding people.
food brings
Yes,
people together.
Brings
Yeah.
people together, and then when I know it gets quiet, that's when everybody loves the food, and I'll tell them, "Hey guys, thank you for everything. We're all here for a reason, and it's what I'm really, really big about. Is just there's too much negativity in the world. I used to really be really big in watching the news, and I don't watch it anymore because there's so much negativity. Try to be
Yeah, and you don't know what to believe. It's all over the
you
place.
don't. And then, you can't even do anything these days without offending anybody.
Yeah.
It's different times. And, me growing up, I would, being the middle stepchild, I was picked on a great deal. I had to wear headgear in 7th grade. I was I was that kid. And it's my brother, my older stepbrother, everything he did, I had to do. Sports, everything. And him and I became really close. Tomorrow, which is Friday, we're going to the Red Hot Chili Peppers concert and set everything up backstage for them. And my brother is my biggest mentor, other than my father, is my biggest mentor in life, and has taught me every accolade I do. I always call him. I said, "Hey, Jimmy, I'm opening up a restaurant, or I'm cooking for Mike Tyson, or I'm doing this or doing that, or I'm gonna start racing." And the biggest thing that I'm blessed that I have an older brother and I have a father figure like that, where he'll just tell me, "Hey, I'm proud." But then the tough love growing up was that you're only as good as your last thing you did. So like with me in logistics, I'm only good as my last shipment. You're only good as your last build, which you got to do better. So then, after I cooked for William Shatner, I asked myself, okay, well, what's next? I was always hungry. I was never satisfied. And I had to slow down. I was like, I will always be hungry, but I need to be satisfied, because I won't be able to enjoy my moment. I won't be able to enjoy my friends. If I'm always cooking and trying to make money doing this and then putting it back into programs, my friends' smiles, my friends' accolades, if they win, it'll be gone. I won't be able to enjoy that with them. So that's why I'm starting to take a little bit a step back of approach, and the beef jerky is helping out a lot. Where yeah, I'm still cooking, but it's instead of doing 3 meals a day, it's one big meal a day. Another example is for the Terror Crew event that's happening on the Memorial Weekend. I'm going to be doing a couple dinners, but I'm going to go and enjoy with my friends. We're going to be live streaming. We're going to be, seeing all their cars and stuff that they've put their whole lives in to build. I'm going to be able to enjoy this with them. To spot.
You have to live in the moment. I think that's one thing I've struggled with it in my life, but you're always looking ahead or looking behind you. But you have 24 hours of today that you can do your best, live your life, enjoy that, make memories, and then move on to the next day.
It's great. So like, LS Fest felt months ago, but it was like two weeks.
It goes so fast.
So fast. And having dinner with Blake last night, I was like, hey, he just got back from the Nora 1000. Just talking about it, he's like, it feels like it was just, it was gone.
Yeah.
He was there for 10 days. And asking him, I was like, man, how the view the photo that you took of the cacti right behind you. I said, the older person in me was like, did you even take shoes? Because you're always barefoot. He's like, yeah, I had shoes. But what I love about the group is we all have our own things. There's people that are introverts. There's people that are extroverts. There are people that don't want any of the limelight. There are people that I check on. That my biggest thing is that I treat people the way that I would want to be treated, and sometimes it comes off a little bit. When I tell somebody I'm proud of you, I'm like, for what? It's just I'm proud of you. I'm like, okay, but for what? Like, I was like, because you're here today, you made a difference. And some people that didn't have that love, and it's where everything's so negative around them, or where that's just routine.
I don't even think people are used to hearing that anymore.
They're not. And with that, it comes. I mean, I was brought up when I in the middle when I was younger. I was brought up by a single mother of 3, and so I moved in with my father when I was 7, and see my mother struggle. Having to put herself through beauty school, and learning how to be a man with a woman teaching you, and growing up in not in a good family environment, in the produce, when there was just rampant with drugs and unlimited funds, where my family was at the point, and learning on the person I wanted to be and the person I did not want to be. And I joined the military, one, because I love my country, I love the freedoms we have, but I joined the military because I wanted to get out of my town. I didn't want to go to college. The day that I graduated was the day I was found out, hey, you're going to graduate high school. And then I 2 weeks after that, I was shipped off to Chicago to boot camp, and realized I had to grow up at a really, really young age, and realized, okay, now I know why that my parents were hard on me, why I was spanked, why, when the lights came on outside, I had to be inside, why I had chores, why, life is the way it is, and wouldn't trade any bad situation I was in the back in my past, because I learned.
It's crazy how you don't see that until you.
Yeah.
Like, same thing. I grew up with a very strict family. My dad had a 2x10 paddle that he custom carved, and I don't know. Growing up, I hated it. I didn't like any of it until I moved out. I spent like a couple months. It only took a couple months to really figure out, like, man, this life is crazy.
Yeah. My father was a cop, and I chose 2 belts, the thin one or the thick one, and it was always the thin one. And I remember one time, I don't know what happened. I was gonna get spanked. I wrapped myself around toilet paper. My dad was spanking me. He's like, "Wait, what is this?" And he's laughing. He's like, "Kids," And I got out of the spanking on that one, but I was one of the last times I was ever spanked, and I had to grow up. But I don't. I don't regret any of it. Like, for example, yesterday, I cooked for 125 people in National City Police Department. The whole time I was talking to the police chief, we're talking about homeless and economy, and he's getting ready to retire, and just how, crime and how everything's changed. And then, like, I was going to come up here and do the podcast. But given that break we had, I was able to reflect and sit back when he talked to me about when he talks to his detectives about when they have a rough day. He was like, all this will pass. And so with my employees that I have, either with my barbecue or on my work, and they've had some really, really rough personal days. And I try to be the mentor, like what my mentors are: open door policy. If you need to go, go for the day. We live in beautiful Southern California, and so this metaphor that I try to paint for them is, it's not always going to be cloudy and rainy in San Diego. It's going to be sunny and beautiful, and so it's going to pass. Right now, the times it might suck where you're the moment you're in, but you're going to look back and like, oh man, I beat that. When I see, like Kevin, when I see him hit a point when he's welding on the TT, and he's stumped, and I'm just sit there and I'll watch. I love observing my guys, and he'll look at it, and I don't know the frame of reference that he's in, because this guy's a genius on how he designs all his stuff. And he'll look at it and he'll go the way that he thinks is the best way. Later on, I'll ask him, I was like, hey man, what stumped you there? He's like, well, there's this angle. He'll get all in depth. Well, there's this angle. You have to weld it. That strengthens this and strengthens that. I'm like, man, you lost me right there. But I'm learning more about suspension, learning more about horsepower and why you do this and why you do that. Geometry is everything.
There's so much involved in the vehicle.
So much. Math is everything.
Yeah.
Everything. And from carpentry from barbecue to fabrication, math is everything. I've designed. I'm a Excel spreadsheet nerd. I love designing formulas, and so portion control is 6 ounces. So that's how much somebody will consume of a protein. And so what I do is I'll put all these numbers in how many people I'm going to cook, and then I put in a yield, how much my food will shrink during the cooking process, and it tells me how many pounds of raw I need to make.
And it's spot on.
Spot on. And that's how I'm able to maximize my profit margin to the high 90s percentage. And I love what I do, and now I just dump it in.
At 90s, when you get into barbecue.
Yeah.
I have a question about your beef jerky real quick.
Talk to me.
First off, it's fantastic.
Thank you.
How do you keep it? I don't know if you give your secrets out on your jerky.
No secrets.
How do you keep it so moist and tender at the same time? Like, you can go buy a bag of jerky and it's hard, dry.
I get this all the time. So there is, on all my beef, I only have, it's the pork line. The pork line is prepped a lot differently. For all the beef, you start with a prime cut. So a lot of beef jerky is cut for the backstrap, which is very lean. I use the brisket. We use the brisket, and it's a little bit more tender. That's where you start off at the very, very front end, is you use a good piece of meat. Secondly, there's a 48-hour minimum marinade. The next thing is a tremendous amount of R&D I've done with this. The next thing is I only make so much, because it's a year shelf life. I only make so much because I don't want it to lose its freshness. So it's every 2-3 weeks.
How do you know it's a year shelf life?
Well, my distributor, it's stamped. It's stamped on. You have to have. So I went full legit. I'm certified by the FDA. There's an FDA inspector that goes through the plant, looks at everything. I had to start off with measuring from grams, teaspoons, everything, to dealing with pounds. And my pound formula was not working with my teaspoon formula. So I had to, everything works so different. And coagulation, science, it's crazy.
How big is it? Like, how many pounds or how many bags of jerky are you doing right now?
I can do from 5 to 10 pounds to 1,000 pounds, because the mathematical equation's done. That's the hard part. That is the extreme hard part. The bacon was easy. Whenever I would go and compete professionally in the barbecue circuit, you have to have a dish you give to the public. So I had, I called it bacon candy, and it was just bacon strips, brown sugar, a little bit of pepper, some cherry, and a little bit of spice. And we'd give them out like that, bacon candy. Well, you can't call, according to the FDA, you cannot call a meat a candy because it falls into the candy. It's weird, these laws. But my bacon was one of my top sellers. What I've wanted to do is all of my jerky line and my collaborations, and working with the teams, we work together on to design what they want, but ultimately what I will approve on my end because my name's on it. I'm designing it. It is a flavor profile. When you take a bite, I don't want you to pull and tug. I want you to enjoy it. I want you to enjoy the symphony of flavors, the adventure I'm gonna take you through. I stick with 2.5 ounces because that's gonna get you through. This has been tested when we're racing. When Blake ran the Mid 400, I actually gave them their the shreddy jerkies to them, and they were eating it, going maximum speed, 81 miles an hour in the flat. That's in the little book. But they've actually tried it. The Eisenhowers have tried their line. Well, there you go. There's the secret. They're coming out with the line. It is tested, even the bags, to only open it a certain amount, so you won't have a lot of trash. The bag is set up for racing. So you won't have any trash come out, and you don't have 2 pieces. You have 1 piece, to where it's easy to go under your helmet and then eat it really quick. It's not thick strips. It's not very tuggable. It's something that I've always wanted but never got, and I've only had
Dude,
one.
jerky sucks. Like if you buy it from the stores.
It is. And the thing, it's really dry. It's because you're drying it out. But you have to substitute. And I try to use premium product, and it all starts at the very beginning. So, can we cuss on this?
Sure.
Okay, so shit in, shit out. So it's like when I teach my staff about inventory, if you put the wrong numbers in at the beginning, it's going to be wrong numbers out. So shit in, shit out. So if you start with a really good, at the very beginning, start with a good product, your end product will be good. If I start with Wagyu brisket, really good, and it's going to come out really good at the back end. I can't make tar or like leather come out like a brisket.
Yeah.
It's just going to be really, really hard. And so I don't like putting a lot of injections. I don't like using a lot of bad stuff that's like it's all. I like using free range beef. When I do big events, I use Australian product because it's there's no hormones. It's extremely free range.
So I'm sure over the years too, you've figured out the best places around the world that you can get this stuff.
Yes. It's not really known because when we look at a steak, you want a big steak.
Yeah.
But I want quality versus quantity. I get my stuff from All Beef. All Beef, they're prime Justin Lofton and prime Angus, and I cut it with a fork, and it's a normal ribeye. I love their steak line. One of my really good friends that I barbecue with, I've lost to him many times at brisket competitions out of Brawley. He's Justin Lofton's cook. They're using the same formula that we use in our team. We have our own barbecue guy take care of the hospitality, and they use a lot of beef, really prime beef. So I actually was going to bring you a steak up, but I didn't know how long your drive was. But when I see you again, I'll bring you some of the steaks. So I've taught my mentors is that you want very, very tender. So the United States beef, we want a good marbleization. You want want thick steaks. Where on my line, I want quality. I don't mind a small portion, but if it's good, it's tender, it doesn't take that long to cook. It's not a big marbling. The fat content is not bright white. It's kind of like a tan. That means it's grain fed. Where if you cross over to the Latin America, the Brazilian style, Argentinian style, they're very lean. So when you go to the restaurants, they have it on the swords. They're very, very lean. They leave the fat cap on because all your flavor is on fat. We can go for hours on flavor and stuff.
No, it's interesting.
Yeah, and salt and pepper. That's
I
all
cook
you need.
I cooked some hot dogs this last weekend.
You know,
We did a clean desert event. Not actually, clean desert was
Yeah.
there too, but for Fast Live UT, we went out to Dove Springs.
yeah,
Oh, I've never been there. It's amazing.
it's nice.
Have you been up there?
No, I want to go. I just want.
You
I'm
can- you
new to
can-
this.
Well, I've been in the desert my whole life. Never been to Dove Springs. Nobody even talks about it out here. But people closer to LA,
Yeah,
Ridgecrest, that's like up by Parsons, right?
yeah. It's
Um,
far.
but you can go from like Ocotillo looking desert up into pine trees and forest.
Wow, it's California dream.
It's amazing.
So I originally grew up in Sealy. There's a Evan Hughes Highway, turns into Huff Road. I grew up right there. There was a canal. My family was huge in produce in Pro Valley. My stepside family, and they got a name, the canal named after me. It was Fern Canal. That's how I developed my barbecue name, and I remember always seeing superstition out there, but I never really went into the Ocotillo well side, and got to go through the canyons. It's like you're in a really little Grand Canyon,
Yeah.
and I barely experienced in this past year. There's so much I have not experienced in our backyard.
Oh, do you like fresh?
I'm
You see all these
green.
trucks. That's why you want to race.
I do, and I'll just fly my drone.
It doesn't get better from here on out.
It does.
I'm saying like the addiction of this desert stuff. It just
I
gets
just
worse and worse.
hate the dust, and then like I'll just tell Kevin the guys, hey, take all the rocks out, because on my slide outs it'll get caught, and it'll just. I want to buy a fifth wheel where, I have my own living quarters up front, my own restroom up front. In the back, we have like a 12-foot garage, and have the simulator in there, and the guys will be in the back, and I only have to worry about my stuff, keeping my stuff clean. But all my guys are like Linuses. They just love the dirt. They'll bring it in with their boots. I mean, I still bring it with my boots, but it's
so hard to stay clean out there.
it is. I don't know how people invest so much money, and you're gonna get dust everywhere.
Yeah.
And then like when it's like windy, very windy, no, nothing you do.
I don't know how your trailer does pulling through the dirt and stuff, but that Terror Crew takeover, it was a pretty rough road coming into that compound in there.
It's
And we pulled up to our spot, parked it, and
I
our
remember that.
slider door on
Yeah.
the Master like ripped off the tracks.
Mm-hmm.
It was just, I mean, it was pretty gnarly driving through there.
It's so my trailer's we've done a lot of fabrication to it. I actually lifted it 2 inches.
You put some King shocks on that thing? or what?
I actually did ask Kevin about that. So
Because
my
they make
f-
them for RVs.
They do.
Yeah.
But they said no, because Fern will take it off road and I'm not supposed to. So they call me Big Turn Fern. All the guys call me Big Turn Fern, and because I tow it like it's a semi truck. It's a 40-foot bumper tow. So my first Mint 400 with Blake was when he was going to run the TT, and he took me onto where the pits were at, because that's where his toter home was. I was following him. He's in a toter home. He can go to more of a train than I can, and I ended up taking out the plumbing. I didn't know I took the plumbing out until we went leaving. I think it was Baker. We're gonna dump sewage, and I just popped it open, and sewage came out. So that's why I said, all right, I've got to lift it. I've got to get bigger tires. We went Gladiators, lifted it 2 inches, took care of the suspension, and I've got 3 lithium batteries in there. I've got 800 watts of solar power in there. I could be off the grid for many days, but that trailer's taken such a beating. I don't know how it's still alive. My guys tear it up. They tear it up. But it's there for the team. It's there so they don't have to sleep outside. Now, they've done really well before I got there. I'm just the guy that helps make life a little bit easier for the guys, and for somebody that wants to get out of the heat or needs to cool down, because my background is medical as well. I did go to school to become when I got out of the Navy, I became a dental assistant, and then found that and worked in the emergency room taking facial x-rays, then fell into the legal field. I knew how to read medical records, and then did a white collar crime, e-discovery, and then fell in logistics. But everything every portion of my life, I've had a blast. Like, I don't know what's gonna happen next. I don't know what's the next road other than possibly racing or
So I was saying earlier, you're living in today.
yeah.
And you're in this chapter of life right now. Ride it out. All things, or this too shall pass. It happens with good things and bad things.
Oh yeah.
And you just have to be ready for.
And sometimes when it goes so well for so long, you're like, okay, well, where's the bad?
Yeah.
Where's the, it's too good to happen. But
Yeah, at some point it comes to an end. And,
yeah.
but like you were saying earlier too, the way you interpret that and the way you learn from it or not, like that's the important part of it, right?
Learning, and
Yeah.
it's hard when you're in the moment to learn. Oh, I got to learn from this until you're past it.
And sometimes you don't want to see it.
It's
You're
so
like, I don't want to
cliche.
learn from this.
You
know?
don't. It's like you don't sleep. You just hate life. Being a teenager must be hard right now. I mean, it's probably different when we were growing up.
Dude, I can't. I can't imagine.
Social media, everything. But
You have kids?
no,
No.
I got a dog. I have a dog and stretch fish.
My oldest kid's turning 12 this year. I don't know. How the generation's gonna. He's a great kid.
Yeah.
But I can't imagine how difficult it's gonna be in the next 5-6 years for them. You know.
It's very scary. I do have a very, very stressful job. I'm in charge of millions and millions of dollars of government equipment. And if something comes up missing, it falls on me because I'm in charge. And so accuracy is everything to me. And then I love logistics. I love my game growing up was Tetris. So for me to pack stuff up in my truck or in my hauler, I drove a forklift at night, just loading up trailers.
Did you have it on the Game Boy?
Yes.
Yeah.
In fact, I bought a Game Boy, original Game Boy, last month with the Tetris inside my desk.
What was your which level did you get to?
There was only level 99.
Yeah. I got to like level 83,
It's pretty.
and it's so stressful.
It is, and it's But I remember I was playing. I was like, man, this is so fun. This is so fun. And I got into I think it was Moto Supercross. Got into that, and I just got out of the games. I got into the bigger stuff like Super Mario or Nintendo 64, and then when I got my house, I ended up buying arcade games, and I had like a game room and ended up selling those. But yeah, don't ever buy an arcade. Original arcade, the cabinets are really heavy. Moving it by yourself, you have to take them all apart.
I used to work for a moving company, and so we had to move stuff like that. Yeah.
I don't know how those guys do it. When I was on the military, like my friends would move, they would contract movers out, and
Yeah, I worked for United Van Lines. I did a lot of military moves.
that's
Like out in 29 Palms,
oh
dude.
yeah,
Miserable.
It is miserable.
Yeah, it'd be like 7 in the morning, 105 outside.
Mhm.
You're already sweating. There's all these troops running by you, fully clothed, with packs on.
Yep.
Like, it's got to be wild out there.
When I after I finished the minute, Blake asked me if I was sore, and I was like, man, I can't get up. I'm hurting. He's like, if you want to get into this, man, nutrition's
After
everything.
40 miles?
After 40 miles. He's like, nutrition's everything. And so then I go back and I watch the film when I'm in the TT with him, and all I see is the suspension going crazy like this. And I'm like, okay, I get it. And then seeing the suspension on my truck on the Super Duty, I get the technology behind it, but you can only have maximum. I think it's like 6 inches of travel on the 11s. Blake is my mentor on this, so whatever he says, we're gonna rock it. It's gonna be exact replica of his, and then we're gonna be shake and bake out there.
6 inches of travel.
I think so.
I mean, they bounce pretty bad.
They do. My first time I spotted for him at King of the Hammers, and they pulled me up from the camp, and they said, "Oh, you ever seen a Blake race?" I was like, "No, never." Oh, let's go spot for him. They're having all the 11s racing. I was like, okay, check it out. I started laughing because I've never seen bugs race. Never seen them. I thought it was funny, but because they're so slow. And I'm going from.
But
like,
that racing's intense.
it
They
is
get pretty intense.
Intense, and learning how to spot, especially every driver is different. And then if I'm not needed in a spot when I'm remote pitting, I'll go somewhere else because I have the frequencies of Eisenhower's and Blake. I'll go to another remote spot, and then I'll like Eisenhower's are really, really, they're quiet on the channels. All you need to call out is times of the truck before them, their time, their split time, and their split time behind them. That's all they need. Very boom, boom, boom. They're very methodical. And where Blake is, okay, where's this guy at? Where's that guy at? And then with the technology I'm bringing into the teams, on both sides where I'm doing live streaming. I'm doing Starlinks. We have multiple Starlinks. We're doing live feed with all the pits, and we're able to track. It's kind of like a pre-Garmin. We can't really talk in between unless we have the Wi-Fi set up, but a different form of technology, we're able to still watch and still use what we have remotely. The big thing is mountains in the middle, stuff like that. But technology for me, I'm able to bring this into the teams where, like I said, I can cook, I can bring technology, I can run logistics, but I want to learn how to race. And then at the same time, I've got to learn what happens when I roll, how do I roll, do I hold the steering wheel, basic stuff. And then throttle control, simulator. I have a lot of hours on the simulator.
Yeah, I've never done that yet.
It's insane. It's we have everything. We have covered this. I got contracted out to cook for Monster Jam. So they came out to San Diego. One of the guys that I had cooked for, King of the Hammers the first time, he's a driver for Gravedigger, and one of Blake's friends, and he reached out to me. He's like, "Hey, we're coming to San Diego. Would you mind cooking for us?" I was like, "Yeah, let's try it out." So they linked me up with the team, and I thought I was going to be cooking for like public. So they take me to the stadium, and then I introduce myself to the tour manager and meet the drivers, and then I get my wristband. This was this past September. Got all of it. I hit the first stoplight, and that's when it hit me to leave. It's when it hit me. I look at my wristband, and I was like, I am cooking for Monster Jam, which stuff I grew up watching Bigfoot and Gravedigger.
Yeah.
Hulk Hogan going up against the Ultimate Warrior, stuff like that. Stuff as a kid I loved watching. And I pulled over and I started crying. I was like, man. And then I gathered my thoughts. As okay, what's next? Trying to still humble myself, but made amazing friends, and hopefully I'll be able to do their nationwide one in Nashville in 2 months. But was able to cook for them and learning that they're using the same fuel on Top Fuel. Was able to go inside one of the trucks, giving me parts. And one thing that I was able to do is they paid me, but I traded a majority of my earnings for tickets because I wanted to show my team on all my groups I'm going to work for with the Wilkie Works and people that helped me get where I'm at. I wanted to give them as a thank you. Thank you for helping me when I didn't think I needed help, supporting me when I didn't think I needed support, helping me grow when it might have been you taking a step back, and taking my ignorance and not knowing a situation of parts or something, taking time out to teach me. And that's the big thing, is like a lot of the people don't teach. Now I'm curious, how does this work? How does that work? And then I'm able to go into, when I'm buying metal today, I'm able to look at this material. Oh, that's what this is used for. And so, being a very passionate person, and I had a couple drinks in me, but I sat back and I was like, that's all my life right there in those two rows. There's like 36 tickets, and started crying because I was blessed to have friends, something that I didn't really have a lot growing up, something that I had tight group when I was in the military, but I have friends, and I have people that are my core, that are my team, and be able to see the smiles on their kids' faces, see the smiles on their parents' faces, like, oh, look at this, I've never done that before. Being able to take them into the VIP area and get head of line privileges to take photos with all the drivers, to be able to call the drivers at any time. Hey man, one of those guys want to talk to you, and they'll take the time out and talk to them. Being able to bring my circle into what I do in my daily life, when I cater, and being able to give the people that are introverts, bring them out to the front and say, look, this is my gift to you. And then go and have to cook two meals a day and stay on clock and still be able to work, pushing myself. And that's that is my thing right now. My wave that I'm riding right now is that like Paul with American Cinder, we just met a year. We probably known each other for a year, and amazing guy. Like he's extremely smart. He's self-taught, and he could drive. He could drive.
He's crazy.
He is.
Yeah.
He loves helicopters by him. He loves jumping. He's the right person for the moment, and him and I have tremendous amount of respect for each other. Where we both pushed each other's buttons at a point. We were in a spotting for Blake and at Hammers, and he pulled me aside. He's like, "Hey, you know what? You were right. We had to do a job and spot. We wanted to jump and do some stuff, and him and I, being in that situation, got a lot closer. And then we'll text each other stuff, or him and I'm blessed to have a person like him and his family that are in my circle. His son loves my Hawaiian rolls. Whenever I bring him, hey, Fern, you have any Hawaiian rolls? I always get him Hawaiian rolls, and just to see how humble his family is and how like they have their own stuff, but I make sure they all eat. Like Fern, we all eat together. We all eat together. When we're at Hammers, make sure that they have Wi-Fi all set up for them because their kids had to go to still do school, but seeing how humble he is and how like he's a navigator. Maybe not the best. We went 9 hours to get back from Vegas, but seeing how he'll poke me like, hey, friend, I kind of poked out how you're slow towing your truck, and we both have Fords, and so when we eat, like, Fern, what's that? Why is that? And he's like a brother to me, and like Harry's we're different what we do, but I'll tell him, hey man, I'm proud of you. You're a business owner. You're a small business owner. If I can help your business grow, let me know. If I can help cook in the back and bring people to come in, let me know. And I want to pay full price, but they will not pay full price. But I'm a firm believer, if you want to support your friends, you pay full price. And so he said, no, man, we're part of the team. You always take care of us. You always feed us. But I don't even see it like that because it's just my passion. And the group around me, like, sometimes they'll pick up my tab to eat, and which is for me, it's everything. They call it love language, I guess. Is act of is it
Gifts?
no, but like opening a door for somebody.
Yeah.
Do an active, just the act of doing something. When Kevin, I go to the shop and they'll make me something on the 3D printer, or he actually made me Ferns BBQ little 3D prints out of nowhere, and I was like, bro, that means the world to me. He's like, bro, it's Fern, it's these little things I put in the program, it printed it. I was like, but do you understand? You thought of me. You did something out of your kindness. He's like, first of all, you're getting too deep. So it's people don't do this for people. People don't. They're very, very selfish. And he's like, but what you did was just an act of kindness. You made me something so I could put my pots and pans on when I'm cook for somebody. He's like, first of all, I didn't think it was gonna get that deep, but that's pretty cool.
Yeah.
But and like they'll tell me, put your stickers in the cars. I said, no, man, it's you know what? I don't need to do that because I know that I can call you guys and you guys answer my phone. That's all that matters. And anybody, I'll call them, and then unless they're welding, or they're in something's happened at the shop. But I have been extremely blessed to meet some amazing, like yourself, amazing people. I get to feed some amazing people, and I sit back. I save in my trophy case. I save all the major groups that I've cooked for, the checks I've received from the big groups in our industry, Terror Crew, Shreddy. I've saved the checks, and the first light bar. So only the team has a pink light bar on Shreddy's team. The pink light bar lens. So whenever we are somewhere, and it's usually me last because I get off of work last, I'll turn on the pink light bar. They can find me, and vice versa. When they're coming in, I can find out where they're at. So I told Blake, hey, your light bar, it was too bright. It burnt the lens. Here's the new lenses. So they signed it, and I have it in my trophy case. So then when we all do a meetup again, I'm gonna actually give that to a kid, and then give it with
Pretty
some
cool.
shreddy jerky. Because for me, that's the next generation. I was telling you earlier, at LS Fest, Blake was doing the Nora 1000, so he trusted Kevin and I to take care of the TT. Paul towed it up there, but I was only myself and Kevin were the only ones cleared to be in racing it. So we raced it. It was an amazing event. Some kids came by. They thought Blake was there, but he was out racing. And they're like, oh, can we take a picture of the bike? Like, yeah, go ahead. So he was like a 12-year-old, and he was, he wanted to get into racing. So I said, hey, you want to get into it? And his lights lit up. He was like, get in it? I said, yeah, get in it. So I picked him up, put him in the passengers. I showed him how to get into it, how, you there's no doors on this. You have to slide in a certain way, but you don't sit on the fiberglass. You have to go a certain way. Taught him how it is, where to grab. And then I had my helmet with me. I said, hey, you want to put the helmet on? He's like, yeah, put the helmet on. We're talking to him on the radio. So then his parents are taking pictures of him, and I go inside my hauler. And this is right after I almost had my heat stroke. Go upstairs my hauler, and I get some beef jerkies for him. I gave him a hat, and him and his little friend a hat and beef jerky. And I said, hey, guys, we are at where we're at. Yes, because of hard work, but for support that you guys give us. You guys are the support that keeps us going. You are the guys are the numbers that keeps us to be able to do what we do. Thank you. And it's like, wow, we would have never thought to get this experience. And it's like, the large number people that have large numbers, they forget that there are people that follow us. This morning, I went to my local Panera Bread, got my normal like lemonade and Asiago bagel, and the guy, gave me my order. He's like, you come here, once a week, and I always wear my colors, my stuff. He's like, I looked you up on your website. Everything looked amazing. Do you have a restaurant? And I was like, no, I don't. I cater and I travel with race groups. He's like, oh, I want to try your food. He's getting my food ready, and I sat back. I was like, wow, this guy I've never met before is watching my stuff. I never knew, and that's when I sit back. I was like, man, like people support us. Like, there's some people that are I might never meet, but I'm extremely great. I'm looking at you guys. I'm extremely grateful for your support and for your follow. And if anybody ever has any questions about barbecue or about racing or about anything, reach out to me. Or if you're just having I've had people have, Fern, there's a big guy that ran with Twitch, and I don't want to say his name to put his business out there, but he was a really, really good friend of him, and fell on the wrong side. And so he reached out to me because we were gonna do an event together. And he reached out to me and said, "Hey man, I can't get a hold of my sponsor, but you never met me. I don't know who you are. You're not gonna judge me. I need somebody to talk to before I take the wrong road." It was like at 10 o'clock at night. I was like, "Bro, I'm here. What do you need?" So we're just DMing back and forth, and found out some personal stuff at home that had happened, and prevented him from doing something bad. And so when I was at the Method event, I had talked to Twitch about this, and he's like, yeah, man, he something happened to his sponsor, and he took a different road than I had taken, and I had kids, and I had to become a father, and took a different route. But I'm here if anybody has any, just wants to talk. It doesn't have to be about race. It can be, hey, man, how do you cook your steak, or what do you feel about this type of cut? I follow so many different markets. Or if anybody if you're local and wants to just, barbecue, let me know. I mean, I am an open book. If I have time, I would definitely help out with anybody. I'm starting to get into RC world. I'm wearing myself thin. Sleep used to be my friend. That's not my friend anymore. I'm gone every weekend, but I have.
It's tiring.
It is. It is tiring, and I have just as many questions as anybody else. I'm still a student to barbecuing. I'm still a student to racing and learning more about octane fuel and the different levels. And there's so many classes of racing in Baja United States. So many classes. Yeah. I'm not a fan of side-by-sides. We have side-by-sides. I would rather be like inside, but it's different. It's different. I'm not a fan of jumping. I don't. Like, who was the guy that you just had in here recently? He was a kid and jumped the canal.
Oh, Ruslan.
Ruslan. I met him. Met him at, I think it was at Blake's for the Method event, and met his father. And his father, sign language,
Yeah.
and how they speak. And I did sign language. I was able to speak to the father. Very, very humble and amazing family. And that kid's going places. He's a self-starter. He is one in a million where he's doing everything himself. He's got big numbers. He's seen him grow, going through, I mean, his voice changing, and then learning that how he became famous, other than being himself, but jumping. I was like, I don't know how you do that, man. Fear is taught, but fear is a difference.
Especially at 12 years old.
Yeah.
Taking a car like that and jumping over that.
My first thing with fear was I was 19 and the Iraqi Canal and seeing tracers, and the tracers you see, it's the ones you don't see that you hear. That was my type of fear. That was my PTSD. That's when I said, you know what, I don't want to jump. I don't want to do crazy stuff anymore.
Yeah.
But I enjoy what I do. Passion is everything. I was on Fox 5 and got to show my barbecue trailer and show them the meat and cuts I did. And they were like, we love having people on that have passion. And I was like, I don't know what it is, but I'm scared to fail. I'm scared to fail, and I'm scared to tell somebody I'll be there and then not be able to be there, or I'm scared of letting people down, because I've been let down. I know what that feels on the back end, where people say, like, a promise. I promise. I don't do promises. But when people say, I'll do that for you. And then, even like my group, we'll take care, we'll do that for you, we'll do that, let's do it. And then I'll give them a chance. Hey, let's do this. We're ready to go. Okay, done. Ferns gonna do it. Like, I don't know how to weld, but I'm gonna build a chase rack. I got the metal at my house today. But people get busy and stuff. But it's when somebody tells me, or like no, like when I got to run my Super Duty like it was a pre-runner on very little Fox suspension. Now I got the Carly, but Blake told me no, and I was like, okay, I can't use one of your toys. I'm gonna use mine, and then we unhooked the Super Duty, and I been able to transform it into our chase truck.
And sometimes stock mobbing is the funnest.
I know nothing other than like that. I grew up in a spot where there wasn't a lot of suspension. I come from a Cali lift, era where you look at the trucks on the Carolina squat. It's almost the same thing, but they're squatted a lot more. It's almost the same thing,
It's
but
like the Bro Runner lean.
yeah. So you only lift the front, and then you lift the back. You leave the back. I came from that. My first lift, I had an Eddie Bauer 99 all-wheel drive 5.0, and I had just got back from overseas, and I ordered a 4-inch lift kit, only the front. And so the guy was like, "Oh, we ordered the wrong one because you're 4-wheel drive." I was like, "What's all-wheel drive?" I was like, "Well, that falls under 4-wheel drive." So I went a body lift. I went 4 in the front, 3 in the back. That was the best thing I ever had. Best thing. All-wheel drive, 5.0.
You kind of feel like a badass driving that.
I did. And I had BFGs, the KOs, and I never got stuck towing my boat. But never mobbed it because I always had fear I would flip it because these things were top-heavy. But that was my first off-road-ish vehicle.
It's crazy growing up. I grew up the same way. Knew nothing about long travel, pre-runners.
Mm-hmm.
It was just like maybe a little bit bigger tires, a little lift.
Yeah.
And now, like, I'm just learning. You
Yeah.
know, like working for LSK now. I've learned so much in the last 6 months. Stuff that I would have never even dreamt about learning, But now
the technology is so advanced
Yeah.
now. The A-arms that we saw back there, those things will take a bullet.
Yeah.
My first desert toy was a Banshee. Nerf bars. I mean, it was tricked out, bored out, and two-stroke. I love two-stroke. And after that, I bought a Sandrail 4-seater with Corvair engine, and dual brakes, so I can cut it really hard. And then all I had was knobbies because we didn't go to Glamis. A whole bunch of my friends from San Diego wanted to go down to Glamis, and so I went down there and I hung out in the back because I didn't have traction. Hated the taste of sand. I remember one day, and the night it had rained that night, so it was hard pack. I was getting really good traction, and I was jumping the Razorback, but it was tabletop, and so I misjudged the bull. I jumped, and I ended up jumping over some kids, and right when I hit my power band, and I was like, you know what, this is too dangerous for me. I could have killed somebody. So then I sold that, and then got into boats. My first boat, well, the Navy I drove a lot of boats, but it was a little 16-foot like Sea-Doo jet boat, and then 175 horsepower boat, and tricked it all out. Sound system. That was my first boat, named Pink Taco. That was a good times at the river. And then I bought a 40-foot Silverton aft cabin yacht. I went in a partnership with. My payments were like $2,000 a month.
You went from a Sea-Doo boat to
Yes.
a yacht.
Yes, and
A little bit of an upgrade.
it was freshwater, saltwater, and then my boat partner was pocketing my money. I drove back from cross country and looked like everything was stolen. He was actually pocketing my money every month. Was getting it repoed, and then fell into sailboating, going nowhere fast, and then took a break from everything, started barbecuing, investing more money in bigger smokers, and I had a 30-foot K-Yacht pontoon boat with a 4.3 Merc engine, piped straight out. It was an inboard outboard, and that thing screamed, but was too heavy. Too heavy in the back end. My engineering wasn't quite good, and almost sank it a couple times. So I got out of that and found something that was cheaper, which was barbecue. And then 10 years now, here it is, where I want to get a truck.
Yeah.
So
with your jerky collab stuff, if somebody wanted to collab with you, how does that work?
So it's very, very. There's only so many flavors I have.
If LSK wants to collab. Yeah.
So there's only so many flavors that I can design, because our flavor profiles might be the same, but my everybody wants the one that's hard to keep in, which is the bacon line. The minute I get them in, they're gone, and I have stores, I have gas stations, I have them, but I can show people how to do it, teach them, but I'm pretty tapped out on collabs. The last one I have is dealing with Gravel Kings and Robbie Gordon's SST line. Was it trophy truck for stadiums?
Mm-hmm.
There's a driver that they want me to collaborate with, but this guy's even busier than I am to get a hold of. With the Eisenhower's is coming out shortly, and the Terra Cruz new one is coming out.
Terra Cruz doing another one.
So what happened? In fact, James and I were text messaging last night. They it was amazing. They had reached out to me. I can't believe that they wanted to do a collaboration, because these guys, they're filming that you guys all as a team have done is phenomenal, and the design that I came out was too spicy. Now my palate is sweet. Tabasco is ghost pepper for me, but they wanted something really spicy, and I came out too spicy for them. So I'm probably gonna discontinue that line, and we're gonna do more of a lot less spice, but maybe on a little bit of a pepper side, like a Texas style. You could taste all of them. The lines have somewhat of a similar note that you'll be able to break down. But my biggest things that I fail at is knowing spice. I just throw it together because I don't like spice. Never loved it, never liked it, but I have to have it when I competed. and I have to have it with beef jerky. The next worst thing is so I had a lot of shell shock when I was in the military, and my biggest, other than my normal PTSD, was my long-term memory was affected. So when I meet somebody, I'm really bad with names, or I don't know who they are. And meeting a whole bunch of people with my group, because they know a lot more people than I do, meeting people, I forget either the name or I remember the face. Or unless something catastrophically happens, then I'll remember everything. That has been my biggest thing. And I've kept that to myself. Now it's out there. But I've had an instance at with a very gentleman, good friend, that I forgot. I didn't know who he was, and we've did a lot of just talking back and forth through Instagram, but I didn't know who he was when I met him. So, and I mean, sorry. So, but yes, there's a couple lines coming out. I mean, you can only, for me, myself, when I do collaborations, say for instance, to use you an example, you are a food connoisseur as well. You would say, hey, Fern, these are the notes I want to work with. These are the profile I want to work with. Can you design something? And so I'll look at it and I'm like, okay, like when Blake said, hey, I want a tropical thing. I want it when you eat this. I wanted you to think like we're on an island or Hawaii. We're gonna on the beach. We're gonna hit the waves. I'm like, oh man, okay. That's kind of, okay, like maybe pineapple. But then when I start dealing with that, I have to think about acidity. The easiest one to come up with was my carne asada line, but what I didn't like about it was the cilantro in it. It takes away, and I feel like for myself, I felt like it needed more acidity, but the people that did the R&D with, they said, it's fine, just leave it there. Where I nitpick at everything. Sometimes I nitpick at too much, where too much is bad. Sometimes less is more.
Yeah.
But I do have collaborations that are pending. It all depends on, first off, putting my name, behind it. I don't want to put my name just on anything because it waters down my brand, and so forth. So I am very select on who I work with, and at the end of the day, I want to put something out amazing. I want to put something that somebody's driving and they're the passenger, or you're by yourself and you eat it and it reminds you of something when you were a kid, or when you go to a gas station. Oh man, this is better, because I feel that the hard work that I put in at the very beginning of having freshness, of only ordering so many batches so you get ultimate freshness, that you're getting the best product that I can give you. And another one of when people come approach me and we have our business discussions with my partners, or the drivers, I tell them, like Eisenhower's, sitting back and seeing how much the public loves them at the Mint, how much they just love them. They're just average guys. And so what's the next best thing that we can be with an athlete? It's either the shoes or something they eat. With this experience is that, Ferns Jerky and their design, their line, the collaboration, it's exactly something that they eat. It's exactly something that they eat when they're racing. Same thing with Blake. It's exactly something he eats when he's racing, when they're building their trucks, or just hanging out. And I mean, I'm constantly having to refill their packs at the shop, but it's something to bring like a bond of something that you have with an athlete. That was my thing growing up with Michael Jordan, or Junior Seau. I wanted to be like Mike, so I bought Jordans when I was younger. I did not basketball, and it was not good.
I did.
Yeah, it was not my thing. I had Michael Jackson's. I had Michael Jackson. My sister got the Jordans. So, but.
So you're saying you could dance?
No, I couldn't dance to save my life. I couldn't. No.
She can dance really good.
Two left feet. But that's the experience I wanted to give to kids as well. It was like, hey, look, your favorite driver, your favorite athlete, if you see him eating it and you have a bag, like that's the bond that you would have. You know, it's like with me growing up, what's something that I can have that a major athlete that I looked up to was having, you know, Gatorade or something, same flavor. That's what I wanted to.
Yeah, you model after.
Yes. So I wanted to bring that so that it would be something that you're on the same with the athletes, and bringing this perception to them. They never thought of like wow, I never thought about like somebody wanting to enjoy what I eat,
Yeah.
or like a hot dog, like somebody enjoying what you eat, and so forth. So it's I look at a different lens. And what I've learned in being a manager in owning my company and dealing with the government and having a crew is perception is everything. When I might say, hey, that door right there to the right, but somebody might think that door to the right there, totally different. So I have to learn perception is everything, and then treat people the way you want to be treated, and just know that when people say hold on, especially
Yeah.
like Paul, like, and you know what's crazy is these harnesses, I can never get them correct. I can never, like,
It's hard.
It's like the TT LS, it was all strapped to over here. I was like, you know what, I'm just gonna leave it. I'm dying. It's hot, and I'm just gonna leave it. And so when I get my car, I'm gonna practice, and that way I don't have to. I don't have to be that guy with it all the way here, over there. Something happens and I'm hurt. So, any more questions?
No, I think we've covered a lot, dude. I do want to say it's impressive to see what you've been able to do with your life and the avenues you've been able to walk through, and failure and stuff that you've succeeded in. And I've got to experience a few events with you. We kind of met randomly.
Yeah, it's
I
crazy.
think the Terror Crew takeover is the first time I got to eat your food right before we left.
Was it good?
We like
Oh, it was
ran over
good.
there real quick and ate real fast. It was amazing.
Was it the burgers?
Pulled pork.
Pulled
Yeah.
pork.
I still hadn't had jerky. I think the first jerky was at SoCal Eric's, right? That was the first time.
Yeah,
ever.
he moved. He wants me to come out to Ducky. Like he wants the bacon.
That'd be cool for Zach. So yeah, dude, I really appreciate you coming down here.
Thank you.
Podcast was supposed to be yesterday. I left my lens at my house, so we had to postpone that.
We did, and so I had taken a nap, and I was like, oh, I gotta leave. I just finished cooking 125 people. Took a nap. I wanted a poke bowl because I was tired of barbecue, and then I was gonna stop, pick it up in Marietta, but I drove 3 hours in traffic. Gave him my word that I would do the podcast. I'm very private with my life. Don't really do podcasts anymore, but felt that not a lot of people know about me in this industry. And for me personally, I wanted to thank everybody all of the followers. I see every time I get a new follower, I see that, and you're with me on my journey. I get this all the time. Why don't you have more barbecue on your page, your Ferns BBQ? And my thing is that I could put barbecue, can be that page that shows nothing but food, but I want people to see my adventure.
The experience that Ferns BBQ
Yes,
gets.
the growth, the people's smiles that I put on people's faces. You just never know where I'll be next week. It's for me. It's a big adventure, and I'm extremely lucky and blessed to be here today, and to be a part of this, be a part of a larger, amazing market, and to be a part of people that follow me. And even if I'm a new person that first you follow him, and just check out my page, or even if I'm somewhere and we meet up, ask me for a bag of jerky, and I will gladly give it to you. Or if you ask me, hey, by any chance do you have any food, I'll take care of you. I always have food. My refrigerator is always stacked.
This food's 100% worth it.
Thank you. It's a lot. I don't know how I cook on such little stuff, but I do it.
You have a YouTube?
I'm starting a YouTube page. It's all under Ferns BBQ. In 2 weeks for the Terror Crew, we're running live. We're going to be doing Eisenhower's drifting and in their trucks, along with Blake and his trucks. and the smaller trucks, we're gonna be doing live in-car driving and fender, all 3 different angles. If everything goes perfectly, I'm gonna be flying my drone, and my production crew is gonna be doing everything we're doing live, and we'll be able to chat. So if anybody has any questions during this, it's all in the Ferns BBQ. Everything, Gmail, everything that it's for a barbecue, and there's Ferns Jerky, which is the jerky side of the website. So
Do you have an Instagram for that? Or
I
is
do.
It all...
It's all Ferns BBQ, and then on my bio it shows my.
But the jerky and the barbecue are combined.
They're combined on the main
Yeah.
website, yeah. So.
Cool,
that's all.
man. I
Thank
appreciate you coming down.
Thank you, man.
Well, we could probably do this again
Let's get
in
some
like a year from now.
tacos. I want some
Yeah, tacos sound good. I do. Better.
Thank you, man.